deny everything else.
What I have discovered is the banks and the government have colluded to financially enslave the people. They don't actually give you money. They click a key on a computer and generate the fake money out of thin air. It has become painfully obvious that we are being defrauded and robbed by the banking system and a complicit government. What will we do to stop this crime?
We outnumber them. They know we outnumber them. They know that we are more powerful than them, okay? But they have set this whole beast system up to convince you that you aren't shit. And it all starts with them lying to you about the planet, about the shape of the planet and where you live, and covering up God's creation, the Creator, separating you from the very creation that you were built as a part of, that you were made to be part of, that was made for you. Okay, severing you from your intuition, severing you from your foundation, from your solid foundation that the Creator set for you. That's where it starts.
From a conventional point of view, is actually an opportunity for you to awaken to a deeper, or you could say higher, level of consciousness. Humans don't awaken when they're in their comfort zone. They awaken when they are taken out of their comfort zone. Not everybody does. It's an opportunity. If you do not awaken when you're no longer in your comfort zone, you suffer. You're unhappy, you're anxious, you're fearful.
What is your most treasured possession?
My computer.
What do you regard as the lowest depth of misery?
Depression.
What is your favorite occupation?
I try not to play favorites, but my favorite song is Wish You Were Here by Pink Floyd.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a dream feel from a cold steel rail?
No, please stop it, stop it! Just what would you just please stop it, just stop there, stop it, please!
Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to trade your heroes to go?
If we look at the 20th century and we look at the death chart of the 20th century, I think everybody would say, oh yeah, there must be a spike for World War I. You know, sure enough, there it is, like 25 million. And there must be a big spike for World War II, and there it is, it's like 65 million. But then you'll see this other spike that is as large as World War II right after World War I. And most people, a lot of people would say, well, what? What was that? There's two kinds of flus. There's flus that spread between humans very effectively, and there's flus that kill lots of people. And those two properties have only been combined into a widespread flu once in history. Well, that is Spanish flu. We have no idea where it came from. It's called the Spanish flu because the Spanish press was the freest. They were the first to talk openly about it. And so in the annals of epidemic history, that's the big event.
On a warm summer's eve, on a train bound for nowhere, I met up with a gambler. We were both too tired to sleep, so we took turns of staring out the window at the darkness. The boredom overtook us, and he began to speak.
But in a severe, fast-moving pandemic, it may not be possible to contain the spread through these kinds of traditional measures. And as we saw in the scenario, there's a limit to what government, NGOs, and global business can do on the fly to stop a widespread and lethal pandemic. And now that you participated in the exercise, we really want to seek your input on other things we could do to be better prepared. In advance of the exercise today, we drafted a list of actions that we think would start to move us in the right direction.
And I was still 20 minutes late getting here. But I hope you guys are like me and enjoy all this extra time with your family. Isn't it great? So today we binged a couple of TV shows, then we checked out a couple of movies, and then finally my kids said to me, Dad, can we watch something with me? So far it's been pretty fun at the house. We've done lots of coloring, making pillow forts, doing arts and crafts, while the kids have been watching TV.
They tried to just shut down testing. The CDC succeeded in shutting down testing for about 4 weeks, and during that time, the virus exploded all across America. So right now, today, there are approaching 10,000 infections in America. The virus is right now spreading on domestic commercial flights. All of us who are telling the truth about this, who have been 100% accurate from day one, we are being censored, smeared, deplatformed, all the usual things, but now doubled, because there is an effort to hide the truth, to bury the numbers. And just yesterday, the CDC pulled from its website the statistic that showed the number of Americans who have been tested by the CDC. We've now entered the rule by secrecy phase of the cover-up, where the CDC is actively deleting data to deceive the American people and withhold from America the truth about who's tested and perhaps even about the number of infections that are confirmed.
That's right on the cutting edge. And the Ebola epidemic showed me that we're not ready for a serious epidemic. An epidemic that would be more infectious and would spread faster than Ebola did. This is the greatest risk of a huge tragedy. This is the most likely thing by far to kill over 10 million excess people in a year. We don't need to invest nearly what we do in military preparedness. This is something where less than $1 billion a year on R&D, medical surveillance, standby personnel, cross-training the military so they can play a role in terms of all the logistics here. This can be done, and we may not get many more warnings like this one to say, okay, it's a pretty modest investment to avoid something that really, in terms of the human condition, would be a gigantic setback.
You know, like little notes about the importance of tolerance and understanding, so that when I fly the missiles into other countries, it's less threatening than a nuclear blast. But of course, if I was able to hack in and take over cruise missiles with real-life nuclear warheads, then that would let me hold the world hostage so I could take over the governance of the entire world, which would be awesome.
It was nice to meet you, Bina 48.
Right on. I'll remember your kind words when we robots rule the planet, and we'll make sure you're rewarded.
There's a dream I had where somebody watched out for me and you. And in the end of life, there was no one there for me and you.
We could have banned large gatherings. We could have closed the beach. We could have put a moratorium on
recessed the meeting.
shutoffs.
I recessed.
Also not within your power, and the attorney has held that that's true.
I recessed the meeting.
You came up with new rules at the beginning of the meeting, and then you didn't even want to follow the rules that you came up with.
And you took advantage.
This is a banana republic, is what you're turning this place into with your so-called leadership.
Does a recess mean that we will be?
Yes. Camera on that?
I don't care anything about this.
On that?
I don't care anything about this. We should have been talking about this last week.
Can we?
We cut off people's utilities this week and made them pay what could have been their last check to us to turn their lights on in a global health pandemic. But you don't care about that and you didn't want to meet. But every other year you go around and beg people for their votes.
Can we explain
But
the
you care
recess?
more about your relationship with that guy than you care about the relationship with the people who don't go to work in this building.
Order! You were done. You're done. You're done. Disrespect.
It's disrespectful is what you've done to the working people in the city.
I didn't do anything.
You failed to act.
I didn't do anything.
When you're a leader, you failed to act. You said you didn't do anything. You failed to act. When you had an opportunity.
Party for standards.
I don't care anything about that. I think anybody cares.
Does a recess mean that we can reconvene tonight, or okay?
When and where were you happiest?
It is hard to say. Time is different in cyberspace.
What do you consider your greatest achievement?
This solidifies it for me. Every single vaccine that they have set up to give to you is just poison in the needle. That's it. It's only poison in the needle. It is only meant to make you sick. It is only meant to induce some sort of reaction in your body that will cause dis-ease and make you a lifetime customer for the bullshit healthcare system that they have set up. And they will keep pumping you full of poison, and your body will keep getting sick, and you will keep excreting toxins, and you will keep being diagnosed with viruses or dis-ease because they are constantly poisoning your system.
Violence illustrates the folly of war. That is why today I am calling for an immediate global ceasefire in all corners of the world. It is time to put armed conflict on lockdown and focus together on the true fight of our lives.
We know that we're asking Americans to do a lot right now. So we're asking everyone to be selfless for others so that we can protect those who are most susceptible.
Not going to bars, not going to restaurants. It all just means physical separation so that you have a space between you and others.
For more information on how you can social distance, please go to coronavirus.gov.
You are everything else.
Balls have a ball to me, tell me.
I everything else.
Balls have a ball to me, tell me.
I.
Balls have zero to me too.
You I everything else.
Balls have zero to me too.
You I everything else.
Balls have zero to me too. You I everything else. Tell me.
Face masks do work. Face masks are effective in slowing the transmission of respiratory viruses like COVID-19. The CDC and the World Health Organization lied to you when they said that face masks don't work. In fact, Dr. Fauci admitted the reason they told you not to wear a mask was to save the supply for medical providers. In other words, public health officials lied to manipulate our behavior and lied about science, which says that face masks do work, which means we should all be wearing them. But did the mainstream media report this to you? No. In fact, still to this day, even after the CDC and the World Health Organization have been called out for their lies, the mainstream media is still propagating the lie that masks are ineffective.